Indiana. New era, new energy. Already making plans for next season. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Indiana?
Instant panic struck the Indiana Fever, and to be honest, they deserved every moment of it by leaking their list of protected players for the upcoming season. To top it all off, they unintentionally posted it online, which is obviously a signature move for this team. First, you mess up with Caitlin Clark, overshadowing her brilliance with your incompetence, and now you're setting the stage for suffering because you neglected real talent.
There's not even one scenario ever out there in all the multiverses where Caitlin Clark wouldn't be on the list.
Lists and scouting for skill is obviously not your forte. Your selections scream favoritism or worse, a focus on players who likely brought you some financial perks. The players you've selected may have potential on a good day, but ignoring rising stars and solid assets is blatant neglect. And if this is your approach, Indiana, it's going to be a long season of regret. The Indiana Fever. Why in the world did you believe that November 24, 2024, should be proclaimed a national holiday to teach people how not to manage a franchise? I mean, who needs when your social media crew is idly sharing your protected player list for the WNBA expansion draft? Is that espionage or a leak?
The expansion draft is happening on December the 6th. It's going to be live on ESPN. But before that happens, here's what you need to know.
Just one day before the protection deadline, the Fever managed to upload a graphic showing their protected player roster, which is essentially a cheat sheet for every league competitor. Was it really that difficult to keep it together for another 24 hours before they had to rush to push delete? Fans had already captured screenshots, and guess what? They will always be there. Indiana, you've just transformed a crucial event in your franchise's history into a memorable catastrophe.
Team, the Golden State Valkyries, that's going to begin and play in 2025. But before that happens, we need to have an expansion draft because they need some players on their roster.
Let's consider this in context. It's a delicate chess game, unless you're the Indiana Fever, in which case you just flip the board and let everyone else see your hand. The Golden State Valkyries, the WNBA's newest team, are preparing for their expansion draft. The stakes are extremely high for every team, as each franchise must prevent 6 players from being taken while the others are left vulnerable.
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012.
Oh, but the fun doesn't end there. This draft isn't just any draft. It's influencing the league's future, and the team just made their first playoff appearance in years should be riding high on a wave of positive momentum, but instead they're reeling from a humiliating public humiliation. This isn't a rookie error. It's the kind of blunder that is discussed for years, like when you reply to a work email by mistake, but with a million times the embarrassment.
In women's sports, it's a big opportunity to be a part of this rising tide that we're all experiencing. Everybody in this company's all in. Everybody in this city's all in.
Since the list itself is obviously as chaotic as the circumstance that gave rise to it, let's now roast it. The franchise's face is Caitlin Clark, a rookie sensation who enjoys creating highlight reels and packing arenas. Aaliyah Boston is clearly a walking double-double and the team's pillar, and Kelsey Mitchell is virtually unbeatable thanks to her scoring numbers. Lexi Hull is doing well. She's becoming better at being scrappy and adding depth.
There's not even one scenario ever out there in all the multiverses where Caitlin Clark wouldn't be on the list. Aaliyah Boston, same thing goes for her. Kelsey Mitchell's going to be a free agent, but we know the Fever really want to bring her back. They've been celebrating her accomplishments in China. They just posted an hour of her highlights online. They can core her if they have her rights and keep her under contract. So it makes sense that they'd keep that big three together.
However, the head-scratchers follow. Although Nalissa Smith is talented, her inconsistency could be her middle name. This is the same player that, rather than her onk, spent half the season trending for her TikTok controversy. Dominance of the court, low dependability, and significant danger. It's like flipping a coin and hoping for heads when you're defending her.
Court stuff, she's not the best decision maker with the basketball. Motor comes into question at times, not really a shooter. However, there was also the other stuff. You know, she would seem to have an issue with Christy Sides. Doesn't seem to stay away from social media at times. And then the thing with Dejanay Carrington and the Sun and the Fever.
Lastly, let's discuss who was left out. Demiris Dantes was left unprotected, She is a dynamic forward who can add depth and stretch the floor, but it seems like Indiana believes they are so stacked that they can just let her go. Speaking of Grace Berger, how can someone with her talent not make the cut? This choice is blatantly short-sighted, and the fan outrage has been as inevitable as it is justified. She is youthful, underappreciated, and the ideal backup. Caitlin Clark's decision to throw her into the expansion draft meat grinder raises questions about whether the front desk staff members actually enjoy their jobs because they never interact with you.
In fact, Benley is a winning attitude kind of player, plays hard on defense, really ran the floor well on the season, did a nice job converting Caitlin Clark's passes early in the year. Didn't do as well later in the year with that. Blew a lot of layups and bunnies, but I think part of that was because she had a hand injury.
Even worse is the fact that this entire situation exactly matches ESPN's forecasts, leaving everyone to question whether this was a leak or a sign of how uninspired their approach is. Maybe it's time to change things up in Indiana if your big moves are so clear that a sports network could predict them. Instead, you've put yourself in a position where everyone is suspicious. A decision like shielding Smith and Benley from Berger and Dantas is like a neon sign that says, "We don't know what we're doing." Fallout, a franchise that at last had some good momentum, has become a joke. Competitors are likely toasting to your self-sabotage, fans are doubting your abilities, and experts are analyzing your priorities. December 6th is the date of the expansion draft, and regardless of what transpires, the Fever has already lost a significant portion of the fight and their credibility.
You never know. You just never, ever know when it comes to the WNBA. Like, nothing will surprise me. But this is a competent franchise. They're going to keep the players that have the most value, whether it be on the court or in the trade.
Let's move on to the notion that has been circulating about this circus. Some fans are whispering that this purported leak was a calculated ploy to see how the public would respond. If that is the case, it's both extremely careless and somewhat brilliant in a way that makes you want to burn everything down. Indiana, exploiting your fan base as a focus group for your foolish and audacious move. Leaks like this are not only embarrassing, but they are disastrous when you're attempting to restore confidence. However, if this was a true accident, which seems more likely given the track record, it's just another reason to doubt the competence of everyone involved.
Maybe Stephanie White sees the talent that Melissa has, and she clearly has talent, and thinks, I can get the most out of Melissa. Or maybe the Fever think, hey, we're not going to lose her for nothing. Let's protect her because she does have trade value.
This is the most significant problem. Choosing Melissa Smith and Tammy Benley over Grace Berger and Demiris only makes sense if it pays off big. Otherwise, you're left with a roster that looks more like a patchwork quilt than a championship contender. And if Smith falters or Benley injuries continue, this team will have what could have been stamped all over it. These choices could alienate the already fragile fan base. Let's break this down. In the meantime, Golden State Valkyries might win and make Indiana appear even worse if they pick up Berger and DTIs. It appears as though the Valkyries are sitting there giggling at every move while they play chess with half the pieces missing.
The reason this has become a thing is because the players in front of her, well, there were 6 of them. And the WNBA draft, the expansion draft coming up, you can protect 6 players from the Golden State Valkyries. Each team, each franchise can. So fans try to put 2 and 2 together, seeing the 6 players that Stephanie White was talking to and thinking those must be the 6 players.
Speaking of the Valkyries, they have a clear understanding of Indiana's priorities thanks to this leaked list, and they are free to interfere with the Fever's plans whenever they see fit. Capture players who are not protected. Verify Proactive Trade offers Verify again. The WNBA expansion drafts don't happen often, and when they do, they reshape the league. Every decision has weight, and mistakes tear through rosters and standings, but here's the Indiana Fever tripping over their own feet in a league that's becoming more competitive by the minute. Indiana just handed them a cheat sheet to their strategy wrapped with a bow. The Valkyries should send them a thank you card for making their job so much easier.
The WNBA now getting some of the vibes that the NBA has gotten in free agency and off seasons in the past, where fans can't stop speculating about every little thing.
And then there's Caitlin Clark, who represents the WNBA in addition to the Fever. Together with Aya, her first season was a spectacular, record-breaking spectacle that restored Indiana's reputation. At the very least, you didn't mess up the obvious, but the rest of the roster is a shaky mix of unproven potential injury risks and missed opportunities. Boston should have been the cornerstone of a rising powerhouse, but instead of strategically building around them, the Fever is making decisions that could drag their stars down.
A little Fever fun, right? I mean, it's an all-season topic. It's perfect for that. A little bit of Fever fun. We can have that. And shout out to the social team if they're getting in trouble today. No big deal.
The Indiana Fever, you were supposed to keep your intentions secret and demonstrate to the league that you are a serious club, but instead you've given the Golden State Valkyries carte blanche to study your approach and make the other teams laugh at you. If this is how new energy looks, your followers are going to have a difficult time. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a complete collapse.